Because research can be very, very confusing and difficult, we deem it necessary to conduct a survey with the students on what they think is the most difficult part in doing research. Their answers will be based on their schema or their experience in making research in the past. So let's take a look into some of their feedbacks. The first is that, in no particular order, some of the difficulties that they find in making research is number one, they had a hard time in constructing the title. In this case, it is important to know that when you construct a title, there has to be a process of identifying problems and identifying the needs, whether it is with the consumers or whether there is a need for a community to have this product. The second is they find it difficult to manage on how to do constructing the introduction. That is basically aside from the fact that they have definitional issues in terms of what is the background of the study and what is an introduction. The third feedback that we got from students is where do they get their literature and how should they organize their literature? So these are the things that they find difficult, especially in organizing the thoughts, and especially also when they don't have clarity in terms of defining what is related literature and what is related studies. Coupled with that, are they required to basically analyze the literature or the studies that they have taken from any other sources? That is a question that they would like to learn from doing research. The third important aspect in doing research that they find difficult is doing the analysis and interpretation. To some extent, it needs critical thinking to do analysis and interpretation. But the difficulty happens because the absence of teaching them the process in doing it makes it even more difficult. Like, for example, they were very, very worried in terms of where do they start in terms of interpreting it? What basis should they be using in terms of doing the analysis? And how should they conclude it in the way that it should be understandable and it's in the format of writing research analysis or interpretation? The fourth difficult part in doing research is basically on how to identify the methodology that you will be using on this particular research. To some extent, our student researchers are made to choose from the choices that are already known by the teachers. But in this case, there is a difficulty in finding the suitable methodology that they have to use in this particular direction of this research. And finally, the fifth most difficult in doing research are the technicalities in writing it. Students have the difficulty to write in the beginning of each part of research. Like, for example, writing for introduction, writing for literature, writing for the interpretation, and writing for the concluding part of the research. In fact, technical issues such as paraphrasing materials coming from the internet or other resources are really, really important for them, which they find inevitably very, very difficult to do. Another technical aspect of writing research which they find difficult, how should they organize the concepts in terms of framework and how necessarily these frameworks has to be in accordance with the direction of the research. So these were the five most difficult aspects of writing research according to the students who responded to the survey. I'm sure that you have your own, and definitely this will be handled by the class of research that you will be doing for this online education.